Stick it out.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Brink of Speed. My name is Mike and today's video is all about things that you should never do to your Chevrolet Corvette Z06. Now before we get started, I just want to say that these are all things that are my opinion. I'm not stating that these are facts, although if you use common sense on a lot of these, you will find that they are probably very factual. But these are just my opinion. These are things that I would never ever do myself to my Corvette Z06. So I wanted to make that clear before I got started. Secondly, I wanted to wish everyone a wonderful and prosperous Happy New Year. As a lot of you or most of you know, I had a tragic event happen in my life this last month. And I was in Colorado for about 3 weeks dealing with that. And so I'm back in Texas now, and I'm ready to get going on some videos again. And I'm just excited about the new year and what it has to offer for Brink of Speed and all of my wonderful community. We have hit 5,500 subscribers. I hit my goal of hitting 5,000 before the end of December. And my new goal is to hit 8,000 subscribers by the middle of April. April 16th, 2018 was my very first video, and I would love to hit 8,000 subscribers by then. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started and talk about the first thing that I would never do in my Z06. I would never drive my Corvette Z06 on a dirt road. And a couple of reasons for that is, number one, the tires are super wide on these cars. And number two, they're usually very sticky tires. So they pick up lots of gravel and dirt and throw them up against your body panels and can really cause a lot of serious damage to your paint. So if you take a look at the wideness of your front and rear tires, you will very quickly understand why you should not drive over gravel or dirt roads. Number two, I would never drive my Corvette Z06 in the snow. As you can see, this guy right here, he's having a hard time just sliding around in a parking lot trying to park his car, let alone being on a normal street and having the problems there. One of the biggest reasons that you wouldn't want to do it is because you just wouldn't want to get this nice of a car out in the snow. But those big wide tires that we just talked about are another good reason why not to drive this thing in the snow. Number three is I would say never to attempt to do a burnout on the street. And what I mean by this is exactly what this guy is doing here. Not just a smoky burnout where you're sitting still and you're never moving. I'm talking about where you're trying to do a long, drawn-out burnout. Most people can't handle the car when they do something like this. And a lot of times it fishtails big time, gets out of control, and ends up crashing the way that this guy did. So I would highly recommend, unless you are super knowledgeable about doing long burnouts, to not do them. Number four, I would never try to take my Z06 through a car wash with the tire rails. And as you can see here, these tire rails are very narrow. Another issue with the big wide tires. Obviously, you know that I wash my car 100% of the time at home anyhow. However, if you are thinking about taking your Corvette Z06 to a car wash, make certain that they do not have the tire rails because, like I said, and as you can see here in this picture, your tires have to go in between those rails and they're not going to fit. The Z06 tires and the Grand Sport tires are way too wide. I would even go as far as to say that the Stingray tires are probably too wide. And what'll happen is you'll get in there and you'll probably end up scratching your wheel or getting it stuck inside the tire rails. Number 5, I would never ever put less than 91 octane in your Z06. If you look in the owner's manual, it will say to not put anything less than 91 octane. What happens when you put lower octane in your engine is it actually gunks up the fuel injectors. Because of the fact that this engine has a supercharger on it, it needs a fuel inside of that engine that burns very hot. And the higher the octane, the hotter it burns, which allows it to burn off all of the excess minerals and things that are in the gasoline. And so with a lower octane like an 89 or 87 or even worse, an 85, it doesn't burn hot enough to get rid of that and leaves a residue inside the engine and your fuel injectors, which is not good. And number 6, I would never ever go on a long trip without putting a trickle charger on your battery. So if you know that you're going to go out of town for probably more than a week, or maybe even a week, I would definitely recommend, as you see in the picture, putting one of these on your car. And then the next picture, you'll see this guy has put one from his trunk down to an extension cord and plugged it in there. And when you leave your car like this and you come back from a week or more long trip, you will have no issues starting your Corvette Z06. If you do not do this, you will not be able to start your Corvette. For some reason, Corvettes have a very weak battery, and they, if you're not driving it every day or a few times a week, you will end up with a dead battery. So I know the title says 5 things you should never do, but I had a couple of extras that I wanted to add. And so here's the number 7 thing that I would never do. And that would be that you never want to pull all the way up to a curb with your Corvette Z06 or any Corvette that has a front splitter on it for that matter. As you can see in the picture, when you pull all the way up on the curb, you have the chance of either curbing the splitter and absolutely destroying it, or you might get lucky like this guy has, and it might fit perfectly over top the curb, but you're still going to ruin the underside of that splitter. So just keep that in mind. If you do not have a 2016 2LZ or 3LZ Corvette Z06, you will not have the front cameras. Like my 2015, I do not have the front cameras, even though it's a 3LZ. So I can't see curbs. So what I do most of the time is pull up so that I'm probably 2 to 3 feet away from that curb. And if there's not enough space, then I end up turning my car around and backing into the space and using my rear backup camera. And that allows me to be able to get closer to the curb and not harm anything. So that is my 7 things that I would never do. But what I'd like to hear from you guys is all of the things that you would never do in your Corvette Z06. And if you have a Grand Sport or a Stingray, that's fine too. Just let me know in the comments below what you would never do. And also let me know what you think about this video. If you loved it, give it a big thumbs up. And also, if you haven't joined this amazing Brink of Speed community yet, make sure and hit that red subscribe button and the bell notification so that you're notified when my new content comes out. Other than that, though, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you out on the road.